Nova begins her book launch and reveals even more that wasn't in the book. Let's talk about Queen Sugar. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Queen Sugar Season 4, Episode 4, and the name of this episode is Skin Transparent. This was a really good episode, so let me begin. The episode opens up with Nova and Micah. You know, she's about to start her book tour, and she says that Micah can spend time at the house, but she says no private parties. But I'm pretty sure you're going to have Kiki coming over. And he was like, well, Kiki ain't even been answering my texts. I'm like, and I'm not surprised because you're doing too much, Micah, which is stupid ass. Anyway, but then, she's talking about, the book signing and, but then he was like, but the family's still giving you the silent treatment. But she says that it will pass, She says that, parents, families, you go through it, and but it's in the same, and but you get past it, and eventually that's gonna happen with us. I'm like, Nova, I don't think they're gonna get past it anytime soon. They will get past it, hopefully, but that ain't gonna happen today, tomorrow. Hell, it may even be a few years. Hell, didn't Vi tell you in the last episode she won't even want you to put flowers on her grave? So that's pretty much, fuck you for a lifetime type of shit. So yeah, Nova, stop. But we clearly see that the only family member that's in her corner is Micah. So we see that Vi is definitely going through it. Hollywood, Hollywood's trying to be there for her. She ain't slept all night, but this whole thing with Jimmy Dale and Nova done literally just turned her world upside down. And it's just crazy. So then we get a scene with Charlie and Romero. They're at the mill. They didn't set up, the clinic for the immigrants. But he was saying that, but she came in to check on them, and she was like, well, why aren't there so many people? Why aren't there enough people? And he says that, well, a lot of them are afraid to come out because of ICE, and then we see that Micah comes in and meets Romero for the first time, and Micah can definitely tell something's up with this, because Micah can read between the lines. But then, afterwards, she lets him know that, look, we found the guy. Charlie tells Micah that we found the guy that's been sending you the hate letter, and that sending you the hate letters, I'm sorry, and that the guy's in jail, and he tells his mom, "Thank you for handling it." Yeah, exactly, because last episode she literally had the paper trail for his ass. Like, boo, I knew what the hell was going on, and I've been protecting you this whole time. So, yeah, Micah need to get a grip and realize that, yeah, you want to be on this activist shit, but you don't realize that if it wasn't for your mother, somebody would have been snuffed you out. So, your mama got your back 100%. So, we see that at Vi's, Prize Pies and Diner, she's getting things together for Ralph Angel's order, because he's having this get-together going on at his house with the new workers, with the new program through the prison, like they was talking about in the first episode of season 4. So Vi is just so over the place and got so much on her mind. She flips on Rhonda because Rhonda dropped something, but she's on edge because she ain't getting no sleep. And she's on edge about, Nova and Jimmy Dale, because that whole situation completely turned Vi upside down. Because we saw in the last episode when Jimmy Dale came into that house, how she literally turned into this fearful, frightened girl, where we know normally that Vi is very loud, she's very boisterous, very confident, very strong, and like just like that, Jimmy made her a weak person all over again, and she's still reeling in that because Jimmy screwed her life up. And I'm even beginning to think, when he was telling her, when Jimmy Deal was telling her that I took something from you, I think he beat her so bad that she lost a baby, and she can no longer have children because of what Jimmy Deal did to her. So all of that, I think, is possibly running through, and Vi is known to hold shit in and doesn't say anything, so the shit just eats away at her. So pretty much we see that Ralph Angel comes in, but he came in through the back door, and he's like, yeah, I came in through the back door because I'm trying to avoid your damn niece. And I'm like, damn, he ain't even saying that's my sister. He said your niece. And pretty much what happens is that, she now knows that Nova's at the front, so she sends Rhonda after her. And pretty much Rhonda pretty much lets her know that, look, she don't want you here. She's like, but won't you tell her that? She's like, it don't even matter, because if I say it to her, either she gonna fuss me out or she gonna say she don't want to hear about it. Her in Hollywood, they ain't fucking with you right now. So she was pretty much put on orders to not let Nova in. I'm like, Nova, what the fuck you think was gonna happen? You think after all that shit you was gonna be able to talk to them and patch things up? You didn't take what she said to heart, that she don't want shit else to do with you? That you have literally destroyed her peace? Nova is delusional as hell, and that's what gets on my nerves about Nova. Because, as I said before, Nova had good intentions, but your execution was wrong. And your execution is everything. I don't give a damn how good your intentions are. If you have a bad execution, the intention goes out the window. Because your intention as well as your execution have to meet hand in hand. And in this case, it did not. So we see that Ralph Angel has created the Earnest Border Loan Reentry Program. He's pretty much trying to get, farmer, people to help him work the land and all of that. And he says that, the pay is kind of irregular, but it's hard work, and you won't be working for the man. But one of the workers was like, well, from the looks of things, it says that, that we ain't gonna get paid regularly. He says that, look, if you're looking for an office job, this ain't for you, but the statistics say that 6 months you will be back in the system, but being here, that won't happen. So if you want to be a part of this, come in and let's fill out these applications, and let's, break bread and, and let's begin this. So they all go in, and we see that he named it after his father, because his father gave him a second chance. Now he's going to give others a second chance. Thing is, I just hope this shit don't flip and it doesn't bite him in the ass. But he took the initiative to do the right thing. So we see that Charlie meets up with Vicky, her investigator, and she gets some information in regards to that big land purchase that they've kind of hidden under, under some false description. And she's like, what this land's about? She says, Vicky lets her know that is land for a business center that Francis Boudreaux wants to create. But she's like, but why so far away? Well, she says, the thing is, it ain't gonna be that far away because they plan on, creating a highway route right through St. Joe's. And she sees that this highway is gonna cut through most of the black farmers' land, including their own. So I'm like, when she shut down that whole prison thing, they came up with a whole nother plan to try to take them down because they are ruthless. They want the border loans to be destroyed, and they will stop at no lengths to do it. It's like they are ruthless to the point that it's just crazy. Like, even after all that shit, they're still trying to fuck with their land and fuck with the black farmers. And then she also says that, yeah, and the thing is, they have set it up where they won't get any, political feedback, which is why Jacob is running for city council. So therefore, Charlie's putting all this together, like, yeah, that's why they got Jacob running for city council, so that they can't fight back. It'll just go through. So she's literally peeped the game. That, yeah, the Boudreaux and the Landrys are still onto some bullshit. And we see that Nova tries to call Ralph Angel, and she leaves a message, and then all of a sudden she gets a call from Deborah, and it's about her New York Times review, and they want to make it a 6-week tour, and so therefore, that's good news, but it's kind of met with bittersweet, because, yeah, you got all this success and the book is picking up waves, but you literally destroyed your relationship with your family members. And that's something that is still eating away at her. So then we see Vi, so then we pretty much see that Vi is, she pretty much sends Rhonda on her break, and she thanks for her being there for, but we can see that Vi is breaking down, and she's still trying to keep her sanity and her peace. And I can imagine, look, all the shit she's been through, but even more so, all the damn secrets she's been holding, because I think it's a lot more secrets that she ain't telling. And it's just, I just think that seeing Jimmy Deal, and then the fact that Nova was behind it, just triggered even more shit. Because remember when she opened that box, there's a lot in that box. And Violet is known to just keep shit to herself. But then we see that Prosper's there, and, he's talking about his wife Claire, and that was his true love and all of that. And we see that this is really making Vi sad, because here it is, she got that with Hollywood, and she should still be in marital bliss, but now her world's been turned upside down. Yeah, thanks, Nova. Ooh. Okay, so then we see that Charlie meets up with Isabel. She was the former city council that stepped down, and pretty much she kind of tells Charlie that, look, running up against them is like hitting a brick wall, and she was saying that, and pretty much Charlie was like, I get it, they got to you, and that's why you stepped down. And she lets Charlie know that, look, this highway cannot be stopped. When you was going after the prison, that was state. This is a highway. This is federal. So she says that, and she says, but you let it go so easy, so you just, and she says that, so you just chose a backup plan to cash out. And she was like, and pretty much she says that, look, you need to choose your battles, Charlie. You can't win them all. So Charlie takes it up to go to see Frances. Frances and all her girls are wearing all white with their Sunday hats, sipping on champagne or whatever. And she's like, oh yes, Charlie, come join us. So as soon as she walks up, all the other ladies leave. So yeah, pretty much that racism is apparent and is blatantly thrown at her, but done subliminally. She's like, oh yes, and I took the honor of ordering for you. And then all of a sudden we see that she brings some wine, and Charlie was like, no thank you. And she confronts her about the highway plan and the business site. And she was like, and pretty much she was saying that, so that's just what it is, like the land is just a blood sport to you. and you'll profit. And then she's like, so you're just gonna gut the land and just profit off of this, and you don't give a damn what happens to people's lives. But she was like, but you're a part of us, Charlie. You're gonna profit too off of this. So pretty much Charlie was like, so you mean to tell me you're gonna gut our land and treat black farmers like trash? You think I'm just gonna stand by and just let this happen? So Frances decides to call her a nigger without actually saying it. She kind of lets it be known that, 40 years ago, you would have been grateful to clean the toilets here. And now you walk on the land like you own the damn place. And she talks about her sister's league, and she talks about like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. But then she's like, oh yes, and I know about your sister's book, how you literally made a basketball player into an empire. Stone cold capitalist knows how to do that. We're more alike than you think, Charlie. And she was like, honey, let me tell you something. Hollywood and basketball, I conquered them both. You know nothing about either of those. So bitch, no. And you think you know me by some words up in a book? You really don't know me at all. And if you know about what I've done in Hollywood and in basketball, imagine what you think I would do to Jacob when he runs for office for you. And she's like, oh yeah, I know that shit too. And walked the hell off. And I was like, damn. So then we see that Darla is meeting up with the date. I think his name is Leo, and he plays like some vinyl records for her, and they start dancing. But we can see that she's worried because she's gotten word about Nova's book, but she is kind of questioning, is she in it? Let's just say in this episode she finds out. So we see that Blue is actually hanging out with Benny, and he's kind of playing with him on the tractor or whatever. And then we see that Ralph, Angel, and Benny have a moment, and Benny kind of tells him that, look, I really like what you're doing with Blue. And he's like, what you talking about? He's like, look, I've already heard about the book and everything, and I already know the truth about you and Blue. But this is no disrespect, but he says I look up to you for what you're doing. My biological father never stood up for me or did anything for me. And he says that I respect you and I'm honored to be working for you. And Ralph nods off, but Ralph is still sensitive about this shit because now everybody in the world gonna know about the fact that he's not Blue's biological father. So then we get the scene, which is why this is the thumbnail to this video. We get a scene where Micah gets word that his father's coming and that he has a surprise, but he didn't know that Charlie was going to be there. But then again, it's like, why the hell would you even think that? Because it's Charlie's house, so Charlie can be there anytime she wants to. Well, David shows up with his 13-year-old daughter Tia, and Charlie just happens to be there. So she has literally saw Tia for the first time, and she's right in her house. And Davis just kind of brought her in through the back door and kind of told Micah he had a surprise. But then Micah was like, I'm sorry, Mom, I didn't know you was going to be here. I would have given you a heads up that he was coming. And you can feel the tension in the room. But Charlie was pleasant to Tia, but you can definitely tell she was very distant with her. And she's like, I really like your name. She's saying that, Tia, that's a pretty name. And then she's like, I like your name too. And she's like, yes, it's a nickname for Charlotte. Like, but you can definitely tell in her face she is pissed with Davis. So pretty much Micah and Tia go off, the bond as brother and sister. Micah got a little sister now. So they're going to go talk. And Charlie reads Davis his rights and lets him know, like, you are not going to make me a surrogate mom to that kid. And you're not going to backdoor me to do it either. And he was laying like, look, I know what I did was wrong, but the child is innocent. And then he tells her that he's leaving pro basketball and that he's going to be moving back to Louisiana and he's going to be teaching at Bayou State University. Charlie lets it be known, Tia is always welcome to visit Micah, but I will not be backdoored into raising your kid, Davis. You kept this a secret for 13 years. You led a double life. This is on you. And may God help that poor girl. And I'm like, see, that's why I fucks with Charlie. And you can just see in Davis' face, he was all bent. Yeah, because that's exactly what he was hoping. Davis is such a selfish asshole that it's just beyond ridiculous. He's just an entitled bastard, and he don't know how to be any other way. And he's always trying to reel Charlie in because he wants Charlie back. It's plainly obvious that now you done brought this daughter and you thought that having this little girl was gonna sweeten Charlie and it was gonna usher your way back in. Charlie completely called it out and she shut that shit down, and Davis was all bent in the face, and I'm like, good, Davis, you piece of shit. Anyway, let's keep it moving. So then we see that Nova is doing her first book launch, in St. Joe's, but she's about to go on tour, so this is the first stop. We see that her ex-girlfriend Chantal, shout out to Reagan Gomez, to Reagan Preston Gomez, love her as an actress, huge fan. She's back playing Chantal, and Chantal look good though. She got a nice braids and everything. And we see that Micah is the only family member that showed up, and the rest of the seats are empty. So it's bad enough that you did the book, but then Nova decides that she's going to tell about a family story that didn't make the book involving her and her father. So she tells about the fishing story that she had mentioned last season, but this one she went into full detail. She was saying that me and my father was going to go fishing. He went to the store to get some fish bait, but when he came back, there was no fish bait. His mouth was bloody and he was upset. And she was saying, I was only 10 years old at the time, but I remember hearing the guys saying that they was going to do some sexual violence towards me. If he didn't get the hell up out of there, that they was gonna rape and pillage her. And she talks about that when she was a little girl, she used to wander through the cane, which is not surprising because she's a naturalist. She loves the earth and she loves weed. So hey, big ups on that, Nova. But as far as everything else, Nova, you're full of shit. But but here it is. She says she liked to wander through the cane when she was a little girl, and then one night she a week later, after that whole situation, she was wandering through the cane and she noticed that her father was digging a hole and was placing something that was wrapped in it. So I'm like, you bitch, Nova. You do realize there's no statute of limitations to murder, right? So now you telling this story, you can give them probable cause to search the land, and then you really gonna fuck things up for the family. Like, this damn bitch don't know when to stop. Damn. And she pretty much says that he never saw me, and I never asked him, and that was the last time I ever walked through the cane at night. My birthright to the land was buried that night, and and we never went fishing again, and I never saw those white men again. I'm like, bitch, so you blatantly kind of put it out there or speculated that he killed the 3 men who threatened to rape you. and you decided to tell it, like, they can't go back and actually try to search the land and see if they found any dead bodies on it. I'm like, Nova, you are doing the most. And then we see that after her presentation, she meets her and Chantal reconnect, and she pretty much says, I see that Micah's here, but where's the rest of your family? What's going on? And Chantal kind of flirts with her and says that, well, the thing is, I've kind of grown a lot. I've been working on myself. You want to get together later? And she was like, well, maybe next time. Nova just kind of, pretty much said that she wasn't with it. So then we see that Darla gets a copy of the book. I don't know how she got it, but she got a copy of the book. And she begins to read the book, and it mentions Star. Remember, that was her name when she was hooking and when she was on heroin. And they talk about Star being screwed by a snaggletooth John, on soiled sheets while the baby slept while the baby slept next to them. And I'm like, ooh, Nova, you evil bitch. What? Oh, Darla went to Nova's and she went the fuck off. And Nova is, the fact that you have to continue to explain what you're trying to do, that means you're fucked up, Nova. Get that shit through your head. Like, she's so damn self-righteous that it gets on my nerves. She's like, but I didn't use your name. I did it differently with you. And she's like, are you crazy? Half of the people of St. Joe know who I was when I was doing that. And here it is, you done brought my old life into the new one that I worked so hard to build. And then she was like, wow. And you ain't even think about Ralph Angel and Blue and the pain it would cause them. And yeah, you want to talk about me stealing, for my addiction? Well, what you did was worse. You stole these stories. These book of memories that you have written are stolen stories. And I'm like, bitch, Darla, you better tell her the truth. You better let her know. And she says, you're a thief. And she lets her know, don't you come near me or Blue ever again. You are lower than I ever was. I was like, I don't know. That's kind of debatable, Darla, because Darla, you literally put your son in danger. So, yeah. But then again, Nova, I would have to say y'all kind of like you both are very fucking low. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say one was more lower than the other, but Darla, let's be real, bitch. You did it. You did it, and you got to sit in it. Even though you moved on and everything, you can't act like that shit didn't happen, because it did. And Nova, you was wrong as fuck to be telling that girl's business when you should have been telling, it should have been a tell all about your sorry ass and not throwing everybody else's shit out there. Because you only mentioned that whole situation with Too Sweet. I don't know if she's mentioned everything else she's done, like how she was fucking that married white cop and how she went after her sister's ex-boyfriend. You tell all that shit, or tell about the women that you mess with and the fact how you used to do this and do that. Like, boo-boo, you acting like your shit perfect. It ain't. So, if anything, you should have wrote a book about you and about your shit. But she told the whole family's business, and you did it right under their noses. So, yeah, that went down. So, Nova is literally shaken up after Darla read her rights. And she's like drinking and everything, and she decides to call Chantal. Is like, yeah, I think I changed my mind. If you want to come over, you can. And she's like, what? Chantal was like, why don't you come over here? You know what, Nova? Why is it that everything gotta be on your terms? She's like, look, I have been doing some work on myself, but Nova, you need to work on your shit too. But the thing is, if you want, I can be a friend. I can lend an ear. I can be there for you. Especially for the fact that what's going on with your family and why they weren't at that book launch. So I'm like, Chantal called Nova's ass out, and I was so happy she did, because Nova is on that bullshit. Oh, you didn't want to eat her snickerdoodle when she was trying to serve it to you at the book launch, but now that you done got in your feelings, now you want to kind of blow off some steam by going after Chantal's snickerdoodle, and she shut you down and said, that bitch, won't you come over here? You want the snickerdoodle, why do I gotta come to you? I offered it to you first, and you turned me down. And she was like, yeah, but I can be a friend and lend an ear, and you can begin to tell me what the hell is going on with your family and why they weren't there. You think she don't know that you had a close relationship with your family, and the fact that none of them are there, something ain't right? And Nova, in her standard way, decides to flip the script, like, you know what? I'm gonna change my mind. I have an early flight tomorrow. I'm just not gonna. It's okay. Bye. And I'm like, oh, Nova, you a salty bitch, because she called you out on your shit. You can't take it. Weak ass. Anyway. So then we see that Micah has a conversation with Charlie, and he tells Charlie about what Nova said, about the story that didn't make it into the manuscript. So Charlie rounds up everybody. Ralph Angel, Aunt Vi, and I think Hollywood was there as well, but I don't know for sure. No, I don't think Hollywood was there, but it was Aunt Vi, Ralph Angel, and Charlie. So they Hollywood wasn't there. So they pretty much discussed the story, whatever. About what Nova said, about the fishing trip and the white men and all of that. And you can definitely tell Aunt Vi knows something. Aunt Vi knows everything. But Aunt Vi is the barrier of secrets. And pretty much, she was saying that, well, I heard about something with those wretched men. All I know is that after that happened, he was very overprotective of Nova, to the point where it happened one day he just wasn't protective of her no more. But for a while, he was very overprotective of Nova, and he, kept a sharp eye on her. But, and then all of a sudden, he was saying, all of a sudden they was like, well, maybe that was something that Daddy was holding in, and maybe it'd have been good if he wasn't carrying that all alone. And then Vi just flips out like, why do y'all have to know every damn thing? You don't have the right to everything what somebody holds in their soul. But then she was like, look, not all dark corners need light. Jimmy Dale was my dark corner. And there's just some things you need to keep between yourself and God. I'm like, Vi, this is why you have these damn health problems. Because you know what they say about secrets. They eat away at you. And they nest on you to the point that they eat you up. And we see that that's why she's having all these health issues. Why she's always stressed, and she just feels bewildered because you holding on to all this shit and you're not getting it out. So Nova has a good point when she said that she believes their secrets are killing them. But that's something you do in therapy. You don't put that out for the whole entire world. And you definitely don't blindside them. Because they all were blindsided with all the shit you said in that book. So then we see that Ralph Angel goes to see Darla. Darla's very emotional, and she says she's wrote about it. She told everything, and Ralph Angel comforts her. We see that Hollywood is home with Vi. He wants Vi to come to bed, but Vi's running the bath water, and she says that she'll be in a minute. And we see that Vi just tries to hold the towel over her mouth, and she breaks down. Like, she is literally wailing in the bathroom, to the point that Hollywood hears it. He thinks to go after her, but then he says he decides to sit there because there's really nothing he can do. And it makes him, and I've really felt for Hollywood at that moment, because they're supposed to be in marital bliss, and yet now she's dealing with her past in the worst way, and she's been holding all this stuff in, and just finally she broke and just wailed. She was trying to muffle the sound, but he could still hear her. And Hollywood just felt powerless at that moment, and it was really sad. So we see that at the end of the episode, Nova is still trying to call everybody, and she is getting everybody's voicemail. And then we also see that Charlie goes to drop off Micah to meet up with Davis and Tia, and we see that, yeah, she's keeping her distance. She's like, look, she's welcome to come here to see her brother, but I don't want no parts of it, because she know that Davis is trying to use that child to get her back. So pretty much that was the end of it. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Queen Sugar. So until next time, everybody, take care.